No, I'm not going to give you a question. I'm not going to give you a question.
Trump is now being asked to deport his own wife. A viral petition with thousands of signatures is demanding that Trump apply his immigration policies to his own family. Starting with Melania, who came from Slovenia in the 1990s, became a U.S. citizen in 2006, and later brought her parents under the chain migration process Trump claims to oppose. And what about Barron, their son? People are now calling him an anchor baby, the same term Trump used against immigrant families for years. The message is clear. If these rules apply to everyone else, they should apply to you too. Congresswoman Maxine Waters is even calling for an investigation into the immigration status of Melania's parents. Did they overstay visas? Did they come undocumented? No answers yet. Because here's the truth. Overstaying a visa is a crime. Crossing undocumented is too. So why is Trump's family exempt? This isn't just outrage, it's a cry from immigrants who work, pay taxes, and live under fear. Because the real crime isn't migration, it's using the law to punish the poor while protecting your own. Comment if you believe laws should apply to all, not just the powerless. Share before it disappears.
And now we've come to the doing of the thing. A hard hit, huge holes, massive holes. So it's not just going to be California that's going to suffer. You could get fallout all the way here in New York for all we know. If the sea is troubled, it could do anything, because if the landmass is going to actually be hit like that, what's to stop it just shifting for a little bit? What's to stop it shifting for a little bit and push the sea out and then have a huge blowback on this end, on the East Coast? There's so many variables, and all these variables will cause harm, will cause grief, will cause loss. God says that America is going to suffer a great loss, an amputation, as she loses California as a state and is left basically with only 49 functional states. So evacuate, Yah says, and get out of there now. Move and find somewhere else to go. If you're not there, find a way not to be there. Find a way not to go back, or seek the Lord to know if you can quickly go get your stuff. You know, just remember, in the last days, it says in the book of Matthew 24, sometimes that there's some situations that will arise where you're on the housetop and you will have to run away. It says, don't go back in the house to get your belongings. I always said we were going back to Bible days, Old Testament days for sure, but where the Bible is actually going to apply and you have to obey it. So you've heard the states, Washington, Oregon, Nevada, California as the first tier, the first people who are going to feel it over there. And then second tier is Idaho, Utah, New Mexico, and even to some extent, actual Mexico down at the bottom. The next thing is that there's going to be intense and immediate mass migration. The first layer is people literally getting on a plane and leaving the United States for good. I'm not even talking about the people in California, because to a large extent, they will not be going anywhere, but they won't even be going to the morgue. There are people who are going to end their days never found. They're going to be stuck in crevices. They're going to fall into sinkholes. In one very graphic picture the Lord has shown me tonight, they are literally going to be buried in their own homes. God was saying, you see, people, when they're afraid and when something has happened, they will think it great wisdom to go to the basement. I'll get to that. They will think it great wisdom to go to the basement. Go to the basement because of the earthquake, right? But then forgetting that earthquake's job is to affect physical structures. So an earthquake is happening. The ground is literally jumping and skipping like an excited bull at the rodeo. And then what happens is the whole foundation of your house shifts. Every single door moves out of the smooth operation of opening and closing. And then you're stuck down there in the basement, which we all know always has those angled stairs to get down there. You're stuck down there in that place, and it will essentially become a grave for the family, whether they hideously get flooded out or not. The way he described it is, he said people are going to drown in their basements because the wisdom that they have will send them down there. And then, of course, the house shakes and every door becomes stuck in the jam, and then you don't have anything to get out. And then after, immediately the tsunami is coming after now, and then water gets in, smashes every window up there, and then just inevitably water always goes to the lowest place. God says it will be worse than any disaster movie you ever designed. I know you have seen places in which the water was filling up and they were giving us tension and the people were like keeping their face up and things like that. I think that was even in Titanic, where people were drowning like that and saying goodbye to their loved ones. Well, God says it will surpass anything that the American mind has conceived to put in disaster movies.
Breaking, you guys, the state has asked for deportation of Trump's wife, which, I mean, that's good. That seems right. Let's see how it goes. Let's see if he's gonna do that. Okay, like my people usually say, don't point at finger to other person, because the rest of it is pointing back at you. So now let's see how he felt deporting his wife. If he's going to do that. You know, you don't wake up one morning and think to hurt other persons when you know that it might come back to you. Before doing that, you have to think, who is actually advising Donald Trump? Deporting people, is it necessary? Is it what is disturbing the states? Is it what you're supposed to do now? Concentrate on the important thing. They did not vote for you to make them feel sorrowful, to add more injury to the soil. This is not nice. Guys, let me know what you think about it. Is he going to do that? Is Trump going to ever deport his wife? I don't think so, guys. But let me know in the comment section your opinions. I'll be right there waiting for your opinions. Thank you for watching, and see you again in my next video. Enjoy this news. Okay, guys. Bye.
He is so stupid. Why did he do that? I don't agree to use the military.
Breaking news. General Mark just refused to carry out Trump's order. Multiple sources confirm Trump personally pressured General Mark to deploy active duty troops into Los Angeles, Chicago, and other so-called sanctuary cities for sweeping military-style raids. If that order had gone through, America would have witnessed something unprecedented in peacetime. Soldiers stationed at elementary school gates, checking children's IDs, military vehicles surrounding immigrant families' homes in the dead of night, everyday neighborhoods turned into militarized lockdown zones, all because someone doesn't look American enough. But this time, someone stood in the way. Since the Militia Act of 1878, the U.S. has had a hard rule. The military cannot be used against its own people. This week, a general stood up and defended that line for all of us. Whatever your political views, one thing is clear. When soldiers refuse unlawful orders, they're not betraying their country. They're protecting all of us from being dragged into a war mindset. They are the last line of defense for American democracy. When a president tries to overstep, does the military have a duty to say no? If that day ever comes, do you want our soldiers to obey unchecked power or to defend democracy itself? Comment below, because what happens next defines what kind of country we really are.
Breaking news coming in within the past hour. Nuclear escalation now official. Moscow ditches the deal and aims at the West. Russia has just officially withdrawn from the 1987 INF nuclear treaty, a cornerstone arms agreement that had previously limited the deployment of intermediate-range missiles across Europe and Asia. But that's not all. Alongside the announcement, the Kremlin unveiled a new weapon, a hypersonic missile called Oreshnik, with a reported range of up to 5,000 kilometers and deployment expected in Belarus. According to Moscow, this is a direct response to the growing presence of U.S. and NATO missile systems near Russian borders. Just days earlier, Donald Trump ordered the repositioning of 2 U.S. nuclear submarines into what he called appropriate regions, following what he described as nuclear threats from former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev. Medvedev had warned that any miscalculation could trigger the activation of Russia's dead hand system, an automated nuclear retaliation protocol. The Kremlin has since urged moderation, but emphasized that all strategic decisions are under the full authority of President Vladimir Putin. Former U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton called Trump's move irresponsible, warning that it could provoke Moscow into...
Breaking news: Trump announces that Americans will no longer pay income tax on incomes below $150,000 per year. Just today, the Trump team officially released a major tax reform proposal eliminating the federal personal income tax for people earning less than $150,000 a year. This is an unprecedented fiscal shift, a true restructuring of the nation's bottom line. In his speech, Trump said bluntly, "Why should hardworking people pay for government waste? This is a system that must be turned on its head. No more tax refunds or credits, but total exemption. Hardworking parents, children who work hard every day. Tens of millions of Americans will usher in an era of real relief. When the policy came out, it shook the whole United States. This will cause a large-scale government funding gap. But on Main Street, the real voice is that government is finally not here. Hardworking American, who is always crushed by high taxes. Let them know that the winds are literally changing.